I spent a night in my grandmother's haunted house. This is a true story. My grandmother passed away about 5 years ago at the age of 96. She lived a good long life. The house was filled with memories from when she was alive, and since my parents had already moved out of state, it fell to me and my two siblings to clean out the house and decide what to do with it. As we were going through the process of getting the house ready to sell, we decided that we wanted to have one last family dinner in the house. It would have been my grandmother's 100th birthday the following week, so we thought it would be a good time to do it. But now that it was time for my daughters and I to go, things got weird. Well, it's nice to know that Grandma's spirit is still here, watching over us. I laughed it off and said, yeah, maybe. As we were preparing for the final walkthrough with the new owner, I walked through the house and noticed that the brass plate was missing from the floor. I didn't think much of it until the new owner reached out to me and asked if I knew where the brass plate was. I found a sleeping bag in the basement and food in the refrigerator. I also found a pile of clothes in a bedroom. They weren't mine. I had never seen them before. Whoever had been living there had obviously done a very thorough job of hiding their presence. I told him that I had no idea and that it must have been lost or stolen. He then told me that he had found the plate in the attic. But as soon as the door was locked, the temperature in the car seemed to rise 10 degrees. My daughters and I got in the car and we were greeted by the smell of cinnamon. I don't know if it was just a coincidence or what, but the whole experience was unsettling. As we were saying our goodbyes, one of my aunts asked if anyone else had felt cold spots throughout the house because she could feel one near the front door. He also said that one of the potential buyers wanted to make an offer on the house. I didn't want to bring up the fact that the house was cold earlier that day, but I knew what she was talking about. I told her that yes, I have felt the same thing and that my daughters had commented on how cold the house was as well. A rocking chair that had been sitting in the corner of my grandmother's bedroom was now in the living room. An antique trunk that had been sitting in the basement was now in the dining room. The house has been empty ever since the new owner took possession. I was shocked. These items had been in their places for decades. Why would they be moved now? We also invited our extended family, including my two young daughters. The house had been empty for 5 years, so we let our realtor, who we had known for years, come in and check the place over before we all arrived. While he was there, he mentioned that he had an open house scheduled for the next day. So we told him to go ahead and include us in the open house as well. After everyone arrived, we enjoyed looking around the house together, telling stories about my grandmother and her life there. There was a bedroom where my grandmother had passed away. She had asked in her will that the room be left exactly as it was. So the room was full of all her furniture and belongings. Even her body had been placed in a simple pine box and buried under the floorboards. After the paramedics removed her body, they had replaced the floorboards, but not before placing a small brass plate over the spot where she was buried. We didn't really talk about this part much because it made everyone uncomfortable, but I think it's important to note that even though my grandmother was dead, she was still present in the house in a way. The dinner went well and everyone seemed to enjoy looking around the house. As we were unlocking the front door to leave, my aunt turned to me and said, the following day, the realtor called me and told me that during the open house, several people had commented on how cold the house was and the smell of cinnamon. A few weeks later, we received an offer on the house and it was accepted. As I was making my way through the house, I began to notice other things that were out of place. As I began to investigate further, I began to realize that someone had been living in the house. To this day, I have no idea who was living in the house, why they were living there, or what happened to them. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe for more content like this.